After a very challenging and fiery July, we are finally getting a bit of a breather. Welcome to August Ways, people. Let's see what the energy is going to be like. As I was saying, after a very fiery and challenging July with a lot of conflicts, natural disasters, and freakiest accidents, I don't know what you've heard of, but I definitely heard of some horrid things happening, sadly. We can open our arms to August and breathe. It's a month with some important configurations and less prone to immediate dangers. We'll experience an air grand trine, an auspicious conjunction of the great and little benefics, and the fire trine among other different aspects. So let's quickly look at what the energy is going to be like and stay until the end, because obviously I have pulled some cards. I will also tell you about the visions that I got when I prayed for messages for the collective, and I pulled some other cards as well, message from the I don't know what this oracle deck is called, Jesus messages from Jesus, a rune as well, a card from the Romance Angels Oracle. So stay until the end if you want to hear about all of those. And obviously, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't already, please consider, and you can, it's free, and press the notification bell button so you can find out, you'll get notified when I upload next. Thank you for likes and comments. Do comment, because it will help the channel, and I'm grateful for that. It will help others get the messages as well, and it will help me, it will help you as well, because it'll be easier for me to connect to your energy. So back to the astrology first of August, and then we'll look at everything else we've got here prepared for you for this month. I'm recording on the 2nd, and yesterday we had Mercury Kazimi in Leo. That energy brought new ideas, new passion, and creative, new ways of expressing yourself. And also, if you pay attention, you could actually find your hidden path to success. If there is something, obviously, that you have in mind and you would like that plan, project, goal, whatever of yours to be successful. Also, we had Venus moving into Cancer recently, but it squares Saturn, which is retrograde in Aries, and this aspect causes a bit of a conflict between our need for nurture and being comforted and preserving our nostalgic times and memories, with the reality check of relationships, discomfort, conflicts, and how we avoid or create them, conflicts. It will bring to light issues buried deep that we haven't addressed yet. Check and take action, because you have hard decisions to make in the money, home life, and love areas. Good news is Jupiter is here too, helping us move in the right direction, so we create a better future for ourselves, so we also can once again enjoy life as we should. On the 6th, Mars enters Libra, activating the Grand Trine with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. So all three planets are in air signs. Mars is in detriment in the sign of Libra, so won't spring into action as usually without some negotiating first, which is good. However, it can, on the low down, brew in anger and eventually cause trouble. It's a matter of shifting your vibration, as this is a time when we can either elevate or double down on low vibe dark share. A light will get lighter, a light will get lighter and the dark will get darker moment, as Christopher Witecki said it, which I liked very much. So beware of what frequency you choose to be on. Leave the justice to God, the universe, and the law of karma. Mars in Libra brings justice to the wronged. But obviously, which is easily done, to have this temptation of taking justice into our own hands, and that's not the way of doing it, guys. So, as I said, have faith and trust that God and the universe and the law of karma will bring you justice, and it will. It always does. You just need to pay attention and to be grateful. On the 9th, we have a full moon in Aquarius, which illuminates the contradiction and the need for alignment between our individuality and community, between how we can, with our own personal experience and inner truth, come into service for the greater good of the collective. On the 9th, Mars opposes Saturn and Neptune and trines Uranus in Pluto. This air grand trine can bring unexpected opportunities, new ways of thinking, transformative ideas, and powerful communication. May feel like a bit too much in terms of information, like a big influx of information. So pay attention and filter wisely, because you may be tempted to just switch off if it's too much. But if you do, filter though, because you may be throwing the baby out with the bathwater practically. So you may oversee important information that you need. So hopefully, if you haven't already, you will now put in place a way of prioritizing and sifting through the information that you get and prioritizing where you know you need to pay attention. On the 11th, Mercury goes direct in Leo, so there will be less confusion and mental fuzz, better communication, less tech glitches and transport issues. Whilst Mercury was retrograde, still is actually in Leo, we still have the opportunity to rethink and review, and also to find the courage to express our truth and find our inner fire and power. Important, very important, and cannot stress enough. Stop comparing yourself with others. That will only make you switch off and inhibit your passion and your fire at some point. And it's not what we should be doing. Showing up for ourselves and others is important, because we will fulfill our soul's mission that way, and we will also help others and inspire others. And there many times I thought perhaps nobody needs to hear something, or they are not interested, or whatever. But then I realized that I was wrong, and people do need to hear, and people do need to hear it more than once as well, because every time, even though the same message, it falls differently, it resonates differently. So sometimes I get fed up because I'm like, there's nothing new. Again, we have to look at money, love, work. Well, what's new? What's there to give out as a interesting message and as a new message? It's always about the same old shit. But actually, obviously it would be in a way, because these are the main areas of our life and the areas of life that affect us mostly. But it's also important because to hear it and hear it and hear it, because we are not ready. So I can come with a message at some point, and the planets can align in a certain way and can provide us with that particular energy that is very supportive for us to take action in a certain direction, but we are not ready yet. Some people may be depressed, some people may suffer with addiction, some people may just feel beat or burdened or burnout and not be able to take the opportunity. Or the message just sort of flies by and they don't catch it, they don't grasp it, they don't process it, and then they hear it again and they hear it again, and it's like the Chinese drop type of process that can dig into stone. If you, I don't know if that's how it's called, but that's how I know it, and it does work. If water, even if it's just one drop, keeps dropping and dropping and dropping in the same place, it will eventually carve through. So that's why perhaps sometimes the messages are repeating themselves, and you may think, like me, actually, right, so what the heck is new here? Well, it's perhaps nothing new in a way, but you get renewed energy, you get renewed chances, you get new opportunities, and you get a new perception of the same message, which is like it comes to you at the right time when you need it and when you're ready. So right, back to the astrology of August. You might have to face your fear of change, of transformation, but you have to do it because this is your opportunity to shine and inspire others. On the 12th, Venus is going to be conjunct Jupiter in Cancer, and this is a great opportunity for expansion in the areas of peace, love, personal values, and money. Think back to 2001, 2003 to give you an idea of what you've experienced in that period of time, and I would say up to a couple of years after as well. Not only that, but it will obviously affect our life and influence our life, alter it practically for, if not the rest of the years, at least 14 or so years anyway. And it will bring good fortune, good luck, and expansion. But again, you have to be prepared to take action, and or to be prepared for a new beginning, because as I said, there will be a fear of change, of transformation that you have to face. On that day, we get a double whammy, by the way, with Saturn at 1 degrees in Aries, sextiling Uranus at 1 degrees in Gemini. The need for structure that Saturn wants will meet the need for freedom that Uranus is always after. So this is our opportunity of creating the ideal life and lifestyle, but we have to understand what our heart yearns for and go for that. There will be ways of doing so without hurting others in the process of ruining what's important. This can be interpreted, and there's always, obviously, because I work with so many people, and one areas that people are mostly affected by, other than health, obviously, and money, is relationships and love. And a lot of people will face breakups. And obviously, we may think, well, how can we get away from a relationship, from a marriage, without breaking what's important? Because the concept of marriage is important. Yes, the concept of marriage is important, but we have to remember that if you get to the point, and I should know because I've been through 2 marriages, 2 divorces, so I know what I'm talking about, and I am not for divorce. I always maintain that, but sometimes you have to, because I'm not for staying in a destructive relationship either, because I've experienced both ends practically of the spectrum, if you like. So it's very important that everyone makes the right decision for themselves and for the children as well. And this can be interpreted as well, because a lot of people would think, but I have to stay for the sake of my children. Well, not necessarily, because if you are in a toxic, destructive relationship, you're utterly traumatizing your children. And yes, walking away can be also traumatizing, but is probably a less dangerous trauma, a less dangerous lifestyle. So you have to think about these things and assess and use your wisdom, but you also have to assess and understand whether what you value is old programming by the education system, society, families, because they had different value system, whereas we have different value system. And God gave us free will, and we make our decisions as we should, as it would be best for us to fulfill our potential. Because if we stay in a dead relationship or destructive relationship, we won't be the best version of ourselves. And that's what God practically wants. I don't think God wants us to stay in a dead relationship, or a destructive, even worse, a deadly relationship. I think God wants us to be wise and to make the right decision. Ideally, God would have wanted us to have made the right decision before we married, and to have been healed before we married, because the reason we end up in facing divorce or breakups is because we got into relationships when we were not healed, either of the partners. So we made practically wrong call at the time, and now we think the right call is to stay. No, we made the wrong call at the time, clearly, because that's how we ended up facing this decision, and two wrongs won't make a right. So I hope it makes sense. And obviously comment, and if you find that is not quite clear, ask me and I will happily respond to you. Or even better, book a personal consultation. Anyway, on the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. So happy birthday to all my Virgos out there. My mom was a Virgo. I have very strong connection to Virgos. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I got emotional. Sorry. She had, maybe, because I was talking about marriages and my parents. I love them both, and I have a great deal of respect for what they did individually, but together as a couple, they stayed together, and they shouldn't have. And perhaps that's why I've experienced the divorces, because I did not want to do what they did. Anyway, sorry. So, on the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. Happy birthday to all my Virgos out there. As we restructure our life, money, and relationships, we timely enter the energy of the analytical, detail-oriented, hardworking, and intelligent Virgo. We can find solutions, optimize, and get the desired outcomes. Don't let fear get in the way. Then the next day, on the 23rd, we have a new moon in Virgo. And that will throw a bit of a spanner in the works by squaring Uranus. Both signs are ruled by Mercury, so both Virgo and where the new moon happens, and Uranus is in Gemini. So they are both ruled by Mercury, and will argue as to whether the solution, so there you go, the conundrum, should we stay or should we go? Whether in a marriage relationship or job or whatever, yeah. We will argue as to whether the solution is indeed, we found is indeed the best one, or we should rethink. A little like a little bit like the angel and the little devil on each shoulder, arguing and whispering contradictory messages into our ears. So the way to do this, to overcome this conflict, is by aligning to what our heart's deep desire is. And when I say our heart's desire, again, you have to do a bit of a check-in with yourself here, because it's important that you don't confuse your true pure essence of your heart's desire with lust or fears or weaknesses or avoidance tendencies. Because if we, for example, have a connection to a person that we are very much in love with, and we feel very connected to them, but things don't work out with them, we have to actually obviously first try and do our best to make things work. But if you know that you've done everything everything that you could have done, and things still don't work out, and this is consuming and damaging for you, then there is a problem. It's either obsession, it's either trauma. There is a problem. That is not your heart's desire. You know, if it's something that is supposed to happen, you let go, and it will come to you when the time is right, because what's meant for you won't pass you by. And if you have moved on by the time it comes to you, then it wasn't meant to happen, or the timing has been missed, and you are supposed to experience this time off, like off time, whatever is the correct way of saying it. So you were supposed to move on if it hasn't happened at the right time, is what I'm trying to say, which you probably understood anyway. So again, use your common sense and your intuition and check in with yourself and see whether it is your heart's desire, or it's a bit of obsession, a bit of stubbornness, a bit of low vibe stuff, is what I'm trying to say, caused by unhealed trauma. Right. On the 28th, we have Uranus sextile Neptune in Aries, with Saturn in Aries as well in the mix. That will create a big finale of this month. Dream big, act bold, and create a strategy for making things happen. With the right action steps and commitment, from invention to creation, you can see it through and see it come into existence. Now, let's have a look and see what the tarot says. Well, I mean, I don't even know why sometimes I'm using so many tools, because the energy is always congruent. I always said it. You've witnessed it in my readings yourself. But however, just in case, just so we don't miss some details, I keep doing it. But I will also keep reiterating that the energy is always congruent, no matter what tools we use. And also, I will tell you my vision, because I was going to leave it till the end, but it just seems to be the right time to mention it, because it's something that I always say as well. And I always say, make sure to strengthen your connection to the divine. And in my vision, I've seen a crown chakra covered by a head covering, and AAA batteries, or 3 AA batteries. It doesn't matter. I've seen 3 A and battery. So it's obviously about having your crown chakra, and all the chakras for that matter, but particularly this month, having your crown chakra balanced and unblocked and balanced and plugged to the divine, because that's what the crown chakra practically does. It helps you connect to the divine and get messages directly from the divine. You wouldn't need me or anyone else, because we are all, if you ask me, I always maintain that as well. We are all psychics, because it's just a sixth sense practically that we all have, but because it's not physical, like the 5 hearing, eyesight, hearing, taste, feel, and whatever the other one is, this is not material, does not materializes in some way. So because it's so difficult to grasp and to catch, people don't believe in it. But I do strongly believe that we can all have the insight and the guidance that we need if we would empty our mind from thoughts and connect to the divine and wait to be guided, and believe that we are going to be guided, very important, and believe that our prayers are going to be answered, even if it's being delayed, even if not the right way. Believe that the way are going to be answered is the way we need. And also accept that sometimes we have to grow. So the way our prayers are answered is not like everything dropped on our lap, but we have to work. For some, we are being guided to take some steps and work in the right direction. So we are practically being taught to fish rather than being fed fish. So this time I got the message that I always give you of being of strengthening your connection to the divine. It came to me directly in the vision. So somebody out there needs to hear this. Maybe you've recently became more connected and had more faith, or had some prayers answered, or you need it more than ever. Do it. This is the time, and you will see it. You will see it happening. And make sure, as I said, that you believe is going, and stay open to the ways is going to be shown to you. And speaking of that, I also, whether you're a Christian or not, this message, because non-Christians also believe in the Christ-like love, and in the message of Jesus as the messenger, not necessarily the son of Jesus. So regardless of your faith, the message here is watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. And I don't know where I did have this. Do not, I don't know if it's because I read it earlier, but I did have stuck something. No, actually, in the astrology, I said to you, follow your heart, but use your common sense and your wisdom and your intuition to distinguish between your heart's pure desire, essence, and your lust or stubbornness or trauma, unhealed trauma that causes you to act from a low vibe emotion, fears, whatever it is. Right, back to the tarot. We have the Ten of Cups, which is about happiness, which is about family. And with the Hierophant here, it's about marriage in particular, or long-term commitment. But the Ten of Cups was clarified by the Three of Swords. So clearly somebody out there has experienced, well, I know many bodies out there have experienced some heartache, some breakups that were painful, marriages that had to go through divorces, relationships and families that had to go to breakups and separations and all sorts. Well, again, I've explained to you, if we have experienced such, it's because we got together with somebody who was on the same frequency as us at the time, which was an unhealed frequency of ours. So two wrongs got together trying to create a right. Ain't happening. So if you've experienced heartache and separation and whatever, whether in a marriage or relationship of your own or of your parents, this is a time where you need to dedicate. With the Hierophant, is about consistency and commitment. To the Six of Cups, which is about childhood. So you have to commit to healing this heartache, to understanding what happened and why it happened, to heal your inner child, and to accept what has been and what you cannot change, and to let go and move on. With this Queen of Wands, you need to first take action towards yourself and look after yourself. And it's clarified by Death, so it's about transformation. You need to transform yourself, whether it's in the area of health or emotional health or mental health or looks or how you appear to others. You need to go through a transformation. In what do I mean in how you appear to others? People, if you don't set boundaries, clear boundaries, whether with the partner or friends and family, people will think that it's normal and it's okay to do things that you allow them to do. So you have to set boundaries, and they will understand, and they will see you in a different light. Some may see you not necessarily in a good light because it doesn't suit them, but as long as it makes you feel happier within yourself, and it changes your life for the better, because we have here judgment, and that is about healing, then that's what you need to aim for. So you need to aim for healing of yourself, healing of your inner child, accepting and understanding the past, accepting and understanding what you cannot change, and changing and taking action and transforming what you can, and you will heal. By the way, some of you have to heal your tendency. You may, like me, be fire signs. I'm a double warm fire sign. Also, a lot of air on my chart too. But thank God I'm a Capricorn moon. But some of you may have to heal your communication. So you may be harsh in your communication. You may not communicate at the other end of the spectrum. You may not communicate and switch off and block communication completely, thinking that you avoid. Remember, I was mentioning avoidance of conflicts or creating conflicts in the astrology part at the beginning. So you have to heal your communication in terms of, actually in general, not just in terms of relationships, in general, is important how we speak. Says me, who has Mars in flipping Gemini and Mercury in Aries. So I know what it's like to come across as harsh and ruthless or insensitive. And I've been working on that, and hopefully I've managed to make some progress in that direction. So you have to heal that as well, and you have to also perhaps heal your tendency of rushing into things, like me, Aries again. And we do have a lot of, I mean, the Queen of Wands is Aries energy, and we have the Fool here, which is even more Aries energy, but it's fire as well, energy, so it can be Leo or Sagittarius. So I'm trying to see if we have any specific, I don't see, oh yeah, I do. Okay, so we have all the elements. We have earth, water, fire, and air. And then we have, so we have all the elements, which obviously applies to every star sign in this case. However, just because of what we have on the table specifically, I would say Taurus, Aries, Leo, Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces, Cancer, I want to say as well. I'm just looking to see what practically jumps at me and in terms of star signs, and it could be your star sign, it could be your rising sign, your moon sign, your Venus sign. Take it where it applies to you, and it could also be somebody you're dealing with as well. So it's that way that it can be relevant to you. And obviously Scorpio we have here with the death card. Yeah, I will tell you more, and obviously a lot of you know tarot anyway, so you can get your own, you have your own indicators anyway. So it's about transformation, transformation on every level. Obviously it will apply to everyone in a different way, but specifically of healing of your past, of your inner child, of the way you communicate or not communicate, of the way you make decisions. So sometimes people rush into things, and sometimes they can't make a flipping decision for the life of them. So because this is practically the outcome, because I've asked what the outcome is going to be. Well, it will depend on your decision. Will you go for that new beginning? Will you take that leap of faith? Will you have faith? And yes, it says do not, it says resist temptation. So obviously it is important what that leap of faith mean, because if it means that you just jump into something new that you haven't thought through, and you don't see the end, because I always say always start something with the end in mind. So you have to think, if you're going to start something, obviously, like everything else, it will eventually end. What the end is going to be like, or what the end is like, what the end is likely going to be, and what are your solutions for whatever type of ending you predict. And if you have solutions, and if you have an idea about what the ending could be, and if you have solutions, then obviously you've sort of eliminated quite a lot of risks. So I'm not saying take a leap of faith in terms of take blind risk. I'm saying, yes, think about things, think them through, but make a decision that is not from a place of fear. Because equally, if you stay into a situation because you fear change, because change is too complicated, because change will affect everyone, things will only get worse and worse. And if you're meant to go through that change, it's going to happen regardless at some point later on in life. And because it's not it's not by choice, by design, it's going to be by disaster. But if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. So are you going to be brave enough to take a leap of faith, but equally to know, wise enough to know the difference between what you should take a leap of faith towards and what to resist temptation? So the best example I can give you, I'm going to revert to relationships, because obviously this is my area of expertise, as conflict resolution in relationships is what hello childhood is what I have worked mainly with. So if you are going through a relationship breakdown and you've done your best to heal yourself and to make that relationship work, and you come to the conclusion that it's just not working, so you either resign yourself that you have to live that life or you move on, then obviously just resigning yourself that you have to live that life is not good, because that is you not taking a leap of faith. So that's how you should take a leap of faith. How do you resist temptation? Is because you should walk away from a bad relationship, not for somebody else. If you walk away from a bad relationship just because you found somebody else and you think, oh, now I can get with the other person, that could be temptation, because perhaps you didn't get to know that person well enough. And if you know that person well enough, check with yourself. Are you leaving the relationship you're in because it's not good, or are you leaving that relationship to be with somebody else? If you're leaving it because it's not good, then you're brave, you're taking a leap of faith. If you're leaving it only because you found somebody else, that is not really the right way of doing it. You should still leave, but not because you found somebody else. But because it's bad. Because if it's for somebody else, then it's temptation, and you might, if you haven't healed yourself and you just go into another relationship, you're only going to jump from the fire into the frying pan. So even so, in taking a leap of faith, you still have to go through the healing process that I was mentioning of and of your healing of your inner child and of your childhood and past wounds and trauma. So your life is only going to get better if you go through that healing process seriously and in a committed way, and you make a decision to take a leap of faith, because you are now a different person, or you know you're going to be a different person, and only then get into another relationship. Then right, let me try and wrap this up. We have, I was telling you about the rune. I pulled the rune. We have Othila. And let me see. It is about, I know it's rune 23. 2 and 3, 5 is not my favorite number because it is a number of change and strife. However, change is necessary, and change can create and bring strife, but we have to go through it. And it's not necessarily bad. It's difficult, but it's not bad, is what I'm trying to say. So it's not my favorite number, but it is a necessary step, if you like, in anything. And the rune says that signals that soon somebody could receive an inheritance, or could reconnect with their hometown, home, with their past, with their childhood, whether literally as in visiting. So you may be traveling. I will, by the way. So it could be that, or it could be that you will revisit your childhood in terms of healing and look back on it and see what needs healed. It could be that you may be doing some generational healing as well. And as you do that, and as you look at what your environment and parents have perhaps damaged in a way, you will also see the priceless thing that they have given you as well, that you've inherited from them. So it could be life itself. It's a gift, and I know we don't ask for it, but it is, and it's not easy, but it's precious nonetheless. And it could be that you have some sort of genetic trait that you've inherited, or a special talent. So pay attention to that, because I was telling you, August is about finding your hidden path to success, your hidden talent as well. You may be finding your tribe now, and coming to alignment with your inner truth and your community. I mentioned that in the astrology, it was an aspect towards the end of the month between Uranus and Saturn, if I remember well. It is about everything that you've accumulated in terms of spirituality, and what you give back to your children, what you leave behind to the for the collective, what your legacy, and what you're going to be known for as well. And you got to remember that this pain that I was talking about, this Three of Swords, this is the pain that can fuel this pain can fuel your power. So this could be your strength, your talent, and the way you can help others, and the way you can help your children as well. So family connection, connecting, reconnecting, whether, as I said, physically, literally, or through healing, or energetically, like I did earlier when I sensed my mom's, God rest her soul, spirit. What else? Let me see. You may be looking back and reminisce on the past. And I was mentioning about Venus into Cancer this month as well. So obviously you will review and revisit that as well, but it is with joy, with melancholy, and it will also bring you faith. It's going to be on a positive note, even if melancholic, if you like, or sometimes there can be a bit of sadness in there as well. I mean, I still feel like crying about some things, but it's not with it's with forgiveness, it's with understanding, it's with gratitude at the same time. Let me see. You may feel connected to somebody forever, and you may make peace with that connection, as in whether you can have or not that connection, it will always have an important place and space in your energy field, in your mind, in your heart, in your life. somehow, even if, as I said, not physically there. And yeah, very much about legacy, whether something that's being left to you, something that you leave behind for your children, through your work, through your talents, or for the collective. And it could also be very much because, last but not least, if you've been patient and stayed till the end, thank you. In terms of relationship, we have past life relationship. You've known each other before, so you may be reunited with somebody finally, or whether it's somebody that you've been with in this lifetime or in a past life. So I really hope this helps. I wish you all a fabulous August. I believe it's going to be, and I'm excited and look forward. Let me know in the comments. And until next time, be loved and be happy.